Welcome to another day of adventures with Wes and Jeff, and it's Wes, and I'm in New Mexico at Carlsbad Caverns National Park, and this is number 41 for me on my list of going to all of the national parks in the United States, which are 63 of them, so I'm getting up there. Carlsbad Cavern National Park is located in the Chihuahuan Desert in the southeastern portion of the state of New Mexico, just 15 to 20 miles from the Texas border, 145 miles northeast of El Paso, Texas, and 300 miles southeast of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Carlsbad Caverns became a national park on May the 14th, 1930, to protect and preserve one of the most accessible and best preserved cave complexes in the world, and extraordinary geological formations, a 250 million year old fossil reef, and this vital habitat for Brazilian free-tailed bats that have made this place their home. The park protects 46,766 acres above ground and over 120 known caves underground, with the big room at over 8.2 acres in size, which is the largest single cave chamber by volume in North America. This park attracts 450,000 visitors annually. I have my reservation for tomorrow morning to go into the cavern at 8:30, and so I'm staying here near the park tonight, and I'm hoping to see the bats come out of the cavern tonight at sunset. So I got here just in time. I have about 40 minutes to find the amphitheater, and so that's what I'm planning on doing. As you enter the national park, the scenic 7-mile Carlsbad Caverns Highway is the main park entrance road, featuring steep, winding roads that descend from the mountains with several pullouts to view the outdoor desert landscape and to take photos. This terrain is a dry, harsh, sunny desert landscape. The park ranges from 3,595 feet in elevation at its lowest point here in the desert lowlands, up to 6,520 feet atop the rugged Guadalupe Mountains and Capitan Reef region of the park. Carlsbad Caverns is located in the Chihuahuan Desert landscape, which includes rocky limestone canyons, pinyon juniper woodlands, and over 50 miles of backcountry above-ground hiking trails. I thought I was too late to see the bats all come out of the cave, but guess what? I got here just in time. Located behind the park's visitor center is a 1,000-seat amphitheater at the natural cavern entrance. A national park ranger gives a nightly talk regarding the 400,000 bats that exit from here each evening. The program is free of charge, and the talks and the bat flight program is at sunset each evening from Memorial Day through the end of September each year. In late October, the bats migrate to Mexico for the winter. Streaming out. You can just hear their wings. They kind of follow each other. To see them, but they are streaming out of the cave, the cavern, Carlsbad, in droves, yeah. Look at that. Oh, it has a sound like bees. Oh yeah, there's thousands of them, and They are going into the out into the desert to feed. Look at that. That's so cool. I got here just in time. I can hear them, all their wings. It's hard to get it, but let's see. Here we go. There we go. You can kind of see them. I'm gonna try and walk towards where the cavern is, so I can get that. They do have a amphitheater down there, and the amphitheater you cannot bring cameras down to, obviously, because they scare the bats, and that's not good. We don't want to disrupt nature from its natural course. So it's an amazing feat to see these bats all coming out of this cave. They've had a day of rest. Now they're headed off into the moonlight, out into the sunset. That is so cool. This is a really cool thing. In addition to the cavern underground, the Capitan Reef portion of this national park is very interesting as well. An estimated 250 million years ago, the area surrounding this region served as a coastline for an inland sea. Present in the sea was an abundant marine life whose remains formed a reef called the Permian Reef, which contained birozoans, sponges, and other microorganisms. After the Permian period, most of the water evaporated. Tectonic movement occurred, uplifting the reef above ground and exposing these fossils, which are visible in rock formations in the park. Sunset here at Carlsbad Caverns National Park lasts for so long because you could see such a long distance away to the west. Oranges and purple and blue, and it's just been really, really nice. There was very few people that came for the bat flight tonight, and they're just now leaving the park, so just a few people left, and I'm about done as well, but really excited for tomorrow. Get to go to inside the cavern for my first time at Carlsbad. That's part of Guadalupe right there. That's McKintrick Canyon, which I showed you. Welcome to another day of adventures with Wes and Jeff, and it's Wes, and I am at the Carlsbad Caverns National Park, and this is the amphitheater that they allow people to come at sunset and sunrise to watch the bats come out of the cavern. And this is the cavern hole. That's the entrance. So there's a few bats just lingering around. They're just trying to get back into the cave, to the cavern, because it's just around 8:30 in the morning, and they are returning from feeding out in the Chihuahuan Desert. So this is where they go. You see that they look like birds, but they're actually bats, and they're just flying around the entrance right now. They're trying to make their way into the cavern. Pretty cool. It was nice to see them last night exiting the cavern. So this is the amphitheater. They made it look really cool. It kind of blends in with the hillside. I booked 2 tours. The first tour that I'm taking today with you guys is down to the cave doing the self-guided entrance. The self-guided entrance, it's an hour, and you walk down all the way to the bottom of the cave, and you then have an hour. It takes about an hour to walk down, but thank you, Ralph, for telling me to walk down instead of taking the elevator, because they do have an elevator that you can use in order to get down. But this is the cave entrance here. Really cool. It's deep and it's switchbacked, and that's the cave entrance there. And the second tour I'm going to be taking, today's tour, and that just opened up today, so it was available at 10 o'clock, so I'm going to take that tour as well. So stay tuned to see all the cave tour. Here at the caverns at Carlsbad, the entry down to this thing is extremely grand. It is switchbacks. I don't know if you see, because it's very hard to see because of the light. Just watched a bunch of bats return from their nightly hunting, and so this is multiple switchbacks that you take in order to get down into the cave. And it's a cavern, and so this is very grand. Been to several of the caves, Wind Cave in National Park, and I've been to Wind Cave, and I've been down to the one in Kentucky, Mammoth Cave, and this one, for entry wise, is much grander, much grander. Pretty cool. Rockabye Baby. The hike takes you to this point before it makes a sudden turn. 600 to 1,700 feet beyond here, on the cave ceiling, is a baby bat nursery. In early July each year, newborn pups are all in one place, roosting together, creating their own incubator. This steamy 90-degree area keeps the pups warm as they grow fur and gain strength to fly. At sundown, hundreds of bats fly through this passage to exit the cavern. When the mother returns to nurse her single pup, her keen sense of smell and hearing locates her pup among thousands of others. The story of how these caverns were originally discovered is interesting. Back in 1898, a 16-year-old ranch hand named Jim Larkin White looked up from his job repairing fences and noticed smoke coming from the mountaintop. He moved closer to investigate and discovered that the smoke was actually a giant stream of bats exiting a giant hole in the earth. This scene got his curiosity up, and he went and made a barbed wire and stick ladder to descend down into the darkness. Over the years, Jim White would explore 19 of the known 30-some miles of Carlsbad Caverns and discover the largest cave chamber in the United States. However, there is evidence that Native Americans knew of this site 1,000 years ago, and it wasn't until White's discovery in 1898 when they began mining the caverns for bat guano to be used as fertilizer. Jim White began giving tours to curious tourists lit by kerosene lanterns by lowering them down in bat guano buckets to the depth of 170 feet. White also guided expeditions for the U.S. Geological Survey in 1921. Then later, this became a national park in 1930. As you continue on the path downward, it gets much darker and no natural lighting from the cavern opening can penetrate. Certain animals like the ringtail cat use this cave for shelter, but depend on the outside world for survival. Keeping this area dark as possible keeps surface animals from going deeper into the cavern. This underground cavern stays a constant 56-degree temperature year-round. As you travel down into the cavern and descend 750 feet down the steep 1.25-mile trail, you feel a cool breeze tumbling down the main corridor. The cool air entering into the cavern tumbles along the ground to the deepest part of the cavern where the earth warms the air as it reaches the big room where it stays a constant 59 degrees Fahrenheit. Barometric pressures change and fluctuate depending on the outside temperatures. The warmer air flows out of the main entrance when it is cooler outside. In the summer, it mixes with colder air and blocks the hot air from entering the cavern. The mysterious black hole high above here is called a lead by cave explorers. In 1982, 3 cavers used helium balloons trying to gain access to this undiscovered ballroom over 20 stories above. They tied fishing line and then parachute cord to snag one of the 3 stalagmites on the ledge called 3 monkeys. The cavers used the attached rope to scale and took in views never seen before by humans. The passage they discovered and named the Balloon Ballroom ascends 30 feet into the ceiling above here. As you descend down further into the cavern, you navigate around this 200,000-ton iceberg rock, the largest chunk of ceiling that fell and slid downhill into this location. One thing I have to say about Carlsbad Cavern National Park, and this cavern in particular, is it is massive. You would be so impressed with all of the details and how deep it goes. You just keep going and going and going on this. It's very impressive. As you complete the 1.25 mile natural entrance self-guided tour. It joins in with the underground rest area and elevators to take you back up the 750 feet to the visitor center. Take a break or use the restroom. Or even grab a snack and a hot drink at the underground lunchroom. To protect the delicate ecosystem, the menu is limited to prepackaged sandwiches, salads, yogurt, chips, or warm drinks like coffee or hot chocolate. All food and drink must be consumed here, and only water can be taken on into the cavern system. In 1995, Carlsbad Caverns National Park earned world recognition and the UNESCO World Heritage Site designation. Continuing on the cavern tour, next door is the Big Room, which is the largest natural limestone chamber in the Western Hemisphere at more than 600,000 square feet, or 8.25 acres, an area comparable to 14 football fields. On the 1.25 mile Big Room Loop Trail, you can view massive limestone formations such as stalactites hanging from the ceiling, or towering stalagmites coming up from the ground, columns, draperies, soda straws, and delicate cave popcorn. The Big Room in Carlsbad Caverns National Park is North America's largest single cave chamber by volume, a massive natural limestone chamber measuring nearly 4,000 feet long, 625 feet wide, and 255 feet high. It features a 1.25 mile circular and relatively flat paved trail. If you are seeking a shorter experience, the Big Room has a shortcut which reduces the walking distance to about 0.6 of a mile. The Big Room is home to some of the most well-known features in this national park. It showcases a lot of amazing cave formation, including stunning stalactites, stalagmites, thick columns, elaborate draperies, soda straws, popcorn, and interesting areas such as the Bottomless Pit, Crystal Spring Dome, and the Bashful Elephant. Carlsbad Cavern is very different from most caves around the world for several reasons. First, it was formed by sulfuric acid as opposed to carbonic acid that formed most other caves. It's created when hydrogen sulfide from nearby oil reserves that reacted with the groundwater. Second, it's almost completely inactive. The cave formations here are no longer growing, nor are new ones are being created. This is noticeable inside the cave as it is. For the most part, even though the air is humid, it is very dry, meaning that there are very few pools of water or areas where water is dripping. Water from the surface can take years to percolate through the rock to the cave itself. Actor and comedian Will Rogers called this cavern the Grand Canyon with a roof over it. You will be rewarded with spectacular views, cave formations of all shapes and sizes, and the rope ladder used by explorers in 1924. There's nothing stopping you from taking photos at Carlsbad Caverns, but taking photos in caves is very hard. Even the renowned photographer Ansel Adams reportedly found it very difficult. He said Carlsbad Caverns is something that should not exist in relation to human beings, something that is remote as the galaxy, incomprehensible as a nightmare, and beautiful in spite of everything. Part of the King's Tour of Carlsbad Caverns National Park, and we're lots of stalagmites. This one drops way down into this area. Really cool. It's pretty grand. And these people are from Indiana.
All these other boulders jammed in behind it, making this a kingpin that you walked right underneath. How does that make you feel? All right, I want you to picture this. If these boulders that you see above you had landed almost any other way that they did, then this little archway you just come through could have been totally filled in, and the rooms you're about to see would be hidden for eternity. And that almost happened. Look over here. You see these draperies at an angle? Is that normal? No. They form straight up and down. So that means this face here used to be attached directly above, and look what's now in the gap. Stalactites, stalagmites, and even a column have formed since that thing dropped. Okay, which tells you, okay, that thing dropped a long time ago. Well, most likely when iceberg rock came down, slid downhill, hit the back wall that you're now underneath, all of this section here of the King's Palace collapsed and blocked it off. Prior to iceberg rock falling, you could have come straight down the main corridor and straight into the King's Palace, leaving this as the only opening. So yeah, it almost did happen. All right, so the question was asked about the black mark. And the question usually asked about how did the cavers back then not get lost in this huge cave?
Pretty spectacular.
After a while, it starts to all look the same, right?
Have you been to Mammoth Caves? Yeah. This is the King's Palace at Carlsbad Caverns National Park.
Welcome to the King's Palace.
Wow. This is the namesake for this tour, is the King's Palace, and I have to say it's very, very grand.
It's hard to
And
keep your balance.
it's immense, yeah.
So if you would have a seat right there, stand on the bench.
It's something, huh? I haven't seen anything like this. I think those survived. Yeah, it's just people. This is the king's room, and as the ranger has explained, this is the king on the left, in the middle, and the queen, and then it's the princes and princesses in the king's room. This is what they call the papoose room at Carlsbad. Pretty impressive. Why do they call this the papoose room?
We're going to get to that.
What I find interesting here compared to other caves we've been in is the proximity. We can walk through all this stuff. A lot of times you'll go to a place and way off there they'll have the room lit,
Yeah.
and everything that surrounds you here.
Yes.
So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and that's what we like about this tour is you get up close and personal to all this stuff. Come on, we'll look forward so we can get everyone out of the tunnel. What was that?
No, I was going to ask you, but you answered the question about, if geographically this was in a different location, produce the water to create all this.
All right, so what do you guys think of 88 years worth of growth? Not too impressive, was it? This place, and then they'll add another ring to that ring. Just ring by ring by ring, it gets longer and longer and longer. Before to the end of this trip, you guys are going to see the longest soda straw we have found so far in the cave. It's 7.3 feet long. Yeah. Now, whether you're talking about soda straws or stalactites or draperies, anything on the ceiling means that the drip rate would have to be very slow to form those. Okay? Because if it's too fast for that to occur, the dissolved calcite, the water comes down and hits the floor, splashes, atomizes, and starts forming stalagmites and popcorn splash zones and stuff like that. So when you see something like this, where you've got a drapery in this case directly above a stalagmite, what you're looking at is a change in the drip rate frozen in time. This was forming when it was slow, this was forming when it was fast, and obviously they changed back and forth about equal amount of times because they're about the same length. But had they joined each other, then they would have formed what we call a column, like the witch's broom back there in the corner. One of my favorite ceiling formations are draperies, like these right here. Draperies form when water comes out on a slanted surface as opposed to a flat one. If it's slanted, by surface tension, that drip's going to follow the slant until it gets too steep, and then it'll fall. And now it's created a path that every drip's going to follow. And they leave a deposit of calcite along that path. And that path just gets further and further away from the ceiling. And the further away it gets, the weightier it gets, because water doesn't like to travel in a straight line. And so it starts to look like fabric. And so they're called draperies. You're going to get to see a drapery in the next room, in the Queen's Chamber, that goes from ceiling to floor, 40 feet. That's how thin it is. 40 feet in length. Very impressive drapery. But that's not impressive enough. On the back side of it is another drapery that shrouds it like an angel's wing, just suspended in space, even though it weighs tons in and of itself.
Looks like a tree trunk on fire.
Reserve science.
Jellyfish. Alright, so most of you saw the bashful elephant, and you probably thought that the wall behind the bashful elephant was indeed a wall. It was not. Look back. It's a single boulder. And this is a single boulder. And this one. And the reason boulders this big could get down this far, once, because of iceberg rock falling, is because we are now in a very tall archway, much bigger than the one we came through at the beginning. And you're going to see how these boulders rolled down in just a minute. Well, welcome to the Green Lake Room, so named because up here on the left is a body of water that is green in color. Not because we add green dye or green lights, it's naturally that color. And the reason is because when the water is saturated in calcium carbonate, so when you shine a white light into it, that calcite absorbs all the colors of the spectrum except green and reflect that color back at you. But the pool's got to be deep enough for this to occur. Just a couple inches, you don't see that effect.
At the conclusion of the underground tours, it was time to take the elevator back up the 754 feet to the surface. It takes 1 minute to travel the 75 stories up to the top. The first elevators installed here in 1932 held the distinction of being the world's longest single lift elevators at that time in history. Once I got back up to the top, I saw a huge plains or western lumber grasshopper and a black stink beetle on the sidewalk as I entered the visitor center. Carlsbad, big old grasshopper. Gosh, he's a big guy. Look at that. Here at Carlsbad, as you enter the visitor center, which is a very nice facility, there's an information desk, a gift shop, and a restaurant with a seating area. And then there is the ticket counter where you can get your tours to take down into the caverns. There are several tours that you can take. The natural entrance tour, it takes about an hour to get to the bottom, and it is $15 to tour the natural entrance, or with your park pass it's included. Reservations are required on that, as well as the King Palace today. I was able to take both of those tours, and the King Palace was quite outstanding. The natural entrance tour starts at the amphitheater, where you can watch the bats come out of the cave at sundown, so about 6 o'clock today, and that was pretty amazing. This is the visitor center with several displays on how these caverns were formed millions of years ago, but there was a shallow sea here. The park's most famous mammals are the bats that amaze visitors with their emergence from the caverns. But in all, the park hosts 17 different species of bats, as well as 67 other mammals, some rarely seen, such as the black bear and the spotted skunk. Other native mammals in the park include mule deer, bobcats, and the cougar, also called the mountain lion. Smaller mammals such as the javelina and ringtails, which is a small, nocturnal, slender, cat-sized animal, a relative of the raccoon, distinguished by its long, black and white banded tail used for balancing and climbing. They are often referred to as miner's cats or ring-tailed cat, but are not related to cats at all. They were referred to as miners' cats because they were historically kept by miners to control rodent populations in cabins. This is pretty interesting displays on, there's a bookstore as well where you can get your park stamp, and the displays over the times. This cavern system was discovered back in 1898. It's all about the underground here, but it's beautiful on the surface as well. So this takes you to the natural entrance. You can either walk down or you can take the elevator. It takes you 754 feet below the Earth's surface to experience the caves. It talks about the bats coming out and the entrance there where they come out, which is pretty amazing to watch. If you can time it at sunset, that's the perfect time to come. And they also, the reason, so he discovered this back in 1898. He kept exploring, and then they wanted to mine the very valuable and mineral-rich bat poo, which is what they excavated. There was like 60 feet of bat poo in this area, and he mined that. He helped, he worked as a foreman actually in his later years as a foreman, and they mined that bat poo and they sent it off to California of all places in order to sell it to the citrus farmers, because this poo is very rich and exactly what they need in order to fertilize their orchards. There's a nice video. It's about 15 minutes long here at Carlsbad called Hidden Worlds. Definitely go in and see it. It explains all the history of this area and the extensive exploration of these caves and caverns. Thank you for joining me on my adventure to explore Carlsbad Caverns National Park. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button below and subscribe to our channel to experience future travel adventures with us. Whatever you're doing today, get out to the great outdoors and do something that makes you smile.